Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you will be open to the idea of the diaper dump. It's something new, and as we grow as an organization, it's important to remember that we must always be evolving and answering the call for help wherever it comes from. And as we look to the future, I do have 5 steps to excellence I'd like to share with you this morning that I think that will make us a better organization. Heard something interesting the other day that 1 in 3 people find themselves either very attractive and brilliant or handsome and smart. So what I want you to do this morning is look to the person to your left and look them up and down real good. All right? And then look to the person to your right and look them up and down real good. And since it ain't obviously either one of them, it's got to be you. All right? And what I want you to think of in terms of the third person is how you have the ability to truly leave a lasting legacy and that you truly control your own destiny. Just as a ship in the harbor is safe, that's not what it is intended to be. If you just park that boat in the harbor and never take it out, you never experience what the world has to offer. So over the upcoming year, I hope you will be mindful and accept some challenges to do something new in your community. Now, as I discuss the 5 steps to excellence, the first one on my list, which I think is the most important as the needs in our community continue to be great, and that's the elimination of declining membership. The average age in Kiwanis right now is 60 years old. The average club size in Kiwanis now has fallen under 30. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a problem. We can no longer afford the currents of convenience to wait for someone else to step up and bring in a new member to help us grow a club. It's up to all of us to invite someone to be part of an organization that we hold close to our heart, the premier service organization, bar none. Let it be known that I have no magic wand to help membership grow. For over the years, we have had plenty of membership campaigns. 1 million members by 2015, membership roundups, 100 members in 100 days, the list go on and on. But at the end of the day, this organization doesn't work unless you do. And membership campaigns can be a positive thing for your community as you go out and you solicit people to be part of an organization that helps so many. When you tell them about the needs in our community and ask them if they want to be important and bigger than and more engaged into something bigger than themselves, and tell them about the needs in our community, who can return that down? When we talk about membership campaigns in the future, it's important not to talk about the numbers in Kiwanis because that's not going to pull at anybody's heart. Understand that we need to sell the needs in our community as they continue to be great. But internally, as we grow our clubs, for so many of you who belong to a small club and have been president for life, think what 1 or 2 members can do for your club. For any size club in Kiwanis, a new member brings in a new renewed enthusiasm for service. For the hungry, the homeless, and the handicapped, new members bring hope, a new pair of hands to help build dreams, and a new set of eyes to advocate for those who struggle and are less fortunate. We have plenty of opportunities all around us to grow this great organization. And let me encourage you to do the community survey that Kiwanis has promoted for years to make sure that you are answering the needs in your community. And by doing so, look how you can be a better representative of your community by addressing those needs in your community. You know, too often in Kiwanis, I personally feel that we've become either like one of 2 groups, either the elitists at the country club or the shuffleboard champions at the local mobile home park. And that's a problem, both of those for this organization. We need to look like our communities. Young, old, black, white, male, female, it doesn't matter. We need to grow. And all too often, we look at our meetings as just a place to get together, to eat and greet. And that's not why we are in Kiwanis. And we need to grow this organization, and there's plenty of opportunities to do so right here this weekend by being involved with our service leadership programs. Our young students in our CKI group that are about ready to go off into their professional careers, I would encourage you to develop relationships with them. Develop a Bring a Guest program that encourages all your members to bring somebody to Kiwanis to see who we are. But more importantly, plan now for your Kiwanis One Day event in April and invite someone to participate in a growth through service campaign that will tug at those members you are pursuing to get into your club. Because if you can't get them into your club meeting, the best step beyond that is to get them out in service and let them see what we are actually doing in the community. All around us in every organization, there are more and more young professional organizations popping up. Tap into your chambers of commerces and your realtors associates and builders association groups to look for names for people that are making a difference that might want to expand their outreach in the community. The Florida District of Kiwanis is blessed to have a leadership team on membership under the leadership of Todd Smith, Vicki Jones, Dave Schmidt, and Angie Font. They are prepared to help grow this district if you are prepared to be the difference maker. What we must understand as an organization, when we quit growing, we are through. When the goal of Kiwanis and the Florida District is survival instead of growth, we limit our ability to maximize our resources in our community. So let me challenge you again. Let's grow our clubs by 5% this year. For smaller clubs, that could only be 2 or 3 members. For larger clubs, it could be 8 or 10, but it's never going to happen unless you make the ask. The next step to excellence is to eliminate old ways whose time have come and gone, from the district level on down to the club level. I hope that you had some fun this weekend. We've had some new workshops that were completely different and out of the box for what traditionally happens at a Kiwanis convention. As we look to the future, our traditional midwinter that you know so much is now going to be a leadership forum on personal development. We are going to open it up to the public and encourage everybody to come to see the product that Kiwanis has to offer. And I hope on February 1st in Lakeland, you will come and we will pack the place and show everybody in our communities, invited guests, who we are and what we do. I think that will be great for the Florida District as we try to grow. If you like what you saw this weekend here, the Doral next year is going to be even bigger and better as we expand and try to change things for the better of this organization. You know, many organizations are guilty of falling into the trap of just doing what was done before, year after year, without giving it any real thought. You know, I believe that in Kiwanis, traditions are great. But we must understand that we are living in a time where things are changing faster than they ever have before, and we must change with them in order to be relevant in the lives of those in need. I truly believe that great friendships are made at our weekly meetings, but make no mistake, it's true relationships that are forged in service, relevant service for those that are in need. And since we control our own destiny, let's enjoy some new experience helping those that are less fortunate. Let's bring sunshine into the lives of those who struggle every day, for when you do, you have sunshine shine back on you. We have all heard the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Change is life-giving. It helps us to grow into something greater than we already are. So let me again have you think outside the box at the club level. Are your service projects relevant to your new members? When was the last time you had a new service project? If you're looking for something new, you've heard the diaper dump program. How about partnering with healthy families? How about the Salvation Army, developing a school closet full of supplies and uniforms for students? Salvation Army. You know, I believe in Kiwanis, it's not about who gets the recognitions, but whose lives we touch. And partnerships are great for this organization as we move forward. When was the last time your club reinvented itself with a fundraiser? Let me share 2 with you that are extremely successful. One on its very first attempt in Lakeland. When I heard about it, I, like probably many of you in this room, thought an ice cream festival in Florida would probably be a bust. First year out of the box, an ice cream festival was put on in Lakeland. Over 25,000 people attended. They netted over $45,000 on their first attempt. Can anybody benefit from that in this room? All right? Alliance for Independence is an organization that supports one of our action clubs in Lakeland. They're in their 6th year of a wine festival. They raised this year almost $70,000 for a 4-hour event. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to think relevant. We can't continue to do those things that have become traditions without thought and merit to not only our members, but our community. Internally, we need to look at our clubs. If your club is a club that eats, Would you go back there if your club was not meeting there to eat? If you're inviting somebody for the first time, does the atmosphere lend itself to inviting them back for a second time? If your club hasn't moved in a number of years and things look stale in the environment that you're in, let me encourage you to take the effort to expand and move your club to something that is more relevant, that perhaps provides you with current technology advances like free AV and Wi-Fi in your room. Are your agendas structured or too structured? Only you can answer these questions. And I know for the Holy Grail, for many people here in this room, and some of you know where I'm going with this, singing in Kiwanis, in my opinion, is a tradition whose time has come and gone. In my opinion, just mine, I'm an expert only on my opinion. We sang a song not too long ago in our Kiwanis Club, who was a singing club with the Blue Songbook. We had our superintendent from the school board there to speak, and our song leader got up and said, "Today, in your honor, Mr. Superintendent, we are going to sing a song that was written in 1907, School Days." Some of you may remember that, first generationers. School days, dear, whatever it goes. And I'm sitting around looking at my members in the club that are under 50, and they're saying, "Really? That song's over 100 years old." Now, if you're singing in your club and you're bringing in membership, by all means, sing until your heart contents. But in many clubs that are being started today, that Blue Songbook is just what a Blue Songbook. I don't know that Blue Songbook. We've never seen that Blue Songbook. So I would encourage you again, if it works for you and you are building your organization, then keep singing. Sing with your hearts. But if that is one of those components, and there's many components that restrict our organization and its growth, then that may be something that you truly need to look and change as we move forward. So my challenge to you is to have some new ideas and perhaps eliminate some of those traditions whose time have come and gone. And understand that everybody in Kiwanis has something important to say, whether you just joined Kiwanis this year or whether you've been in Kiwanis for 20 or 30 or 40 years, and how important it is, if we are to grow, to remain open to new ideas. For those who lack optimism can often be found watching wonderful things pass them by. And we must all remember in Kiwanis that adversity does not build the characteristics of our clubs and our members. It certainly reveals it. So I challenge you to give consideration to something new, to help make your club more contemporary, and lead your club into uncharted waters and reap the rewards of knowing that you're continuing to make a difference and you're continuing to reach out and touch new lives. The next step to excellence, in my opinion, is we need to eliminate hunger in our community. And I look at hunger in our community as a two-step problem. First is the nutritional aspect. In America, 1 in 6 million Americans don't have enough access to food. According to the USDA, 17 million children are living in food-insecure homes. Just a couple of years ago, Florida ranked in the top 5 states of children living in homes where there weren't enough food. The lack of adequate nutrition affects the cognitive and behavioral developments of all children, and we can do something about that. And let's not forget our seniors. For AARP reports that nearly 9 million Americans over the age of 50 are at risk of being hungry every day. What can we do about this? We can continue the peanut butter and jelly drive that Alan started that reaches so many in our community. We can partner with organizations like Feed Our Future, Feeding America, Metropolitan Ministries, and Kids Against Hunger, and more that exist perhaps in your community. You can take the time to go visit your local food bank and reap the rewards of actually seeing the fruits of your labor unfold as you recognize hunger in your community, as you feed the homeless and those who are hungry just for a simple meal. It will certainly change your outlook on the way you view hunger in your community. The second part of hunger in our community relates to the thousands of children that starve every day for a little bit of attention. 7,000 students drop out of school a day, and many of those come in and live in environments where there's no supportive family and no role model for them to look up to. Colin Powell says that young children need something to believe in and someone to believe in them, and without that, there's no investment into their future. There's just raw survival getting through every day, and we can do something about that. Currently in place in Kiwanis International are partnerships with the Boys and Girls Clubs and Boy Scouts that afford us ready-made programs to get involved and make an immediate impact. In addition to those things, in many of our communities, there's local organizations like the Florida Baptist Children's Homes and the Salvation Army that provides you opportunities to be the difference maker in the lives of children. So again, let me encourage you to be involved in the lives of children and try something new this year that your club has never tried before. What I hold close to my heart is the elimination of inactivity in our SLPs. As you heard last night, I have served as administrator for both CKI and Key Club, and it's very hard for me sometimes to understand when I'm talking, especially now to our CKIers, to hear some of the remarks that they share with me, and I'm going to share one with you that I heard just a couple months ago. I recently talked to a 2-year member of CKI who said she was a 4-year member of Key Club, and she didn't know that Kiwanis was part of the Key Club family. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a problem. We do a fairly good job of providing funding sources for our children, but that's only a small part of our obligation as we look to the future. We cannot continue to place the burden on our faculty and school advisors to hold our programs together. These are our children. I view all of our SLP students as part of our adopted family. And if you had adopted children, you would do more than just write a check periodically and send them on their way. You would make the effort to be involved with them. So let me challenge you over the upcoming year. There's 10 steps 10 steps of obligations. There's 10 obligations that you're expected to abide by, if you will, to have an SLP as part of your club. And if you do nothing else, let me encourage you to do at least 2 service projects a year with these folks. Invite them to your club and experience the joy that our young adults are doing, and hear their stories and experience the results that they are making and the impact they are making in their school and their community. And I recognize all across the state of Florida that there are challenges of getting students out of classrooms. Well, again, I will challenge you to think outside the box. If your students can't get to your meeting a couple times a year, it's okay to move your meeting to their school. I know very few principals that would not welcome the opportunity to have business leaders come on campus. You can meet in the library, you can brown bag it, or whatever you do. But you got to make the effort to be engaged in the lives of our young adults. If not, why would we expect them to go on and join Kiwanis? Too often I've heard, and I've heard it this weekend from others, that Rotary is thanking us all the time for developing great leaders. That's a problem. Our SLPs are our futures, ladies and gentlemen, and every day we are afforded the opportunity to shape their lives. Sometimes we do that when we don't even know we are doing it. And at this time, I would like to share a letter that I have received from one of my CKI students a couple years ago. It was one of the most personally rewarding letters I have received, and yet at the same time, the most heartbreaking. And if you haven't received a thank you letter like this from someone in your SLPs, let me encourage you again to be just a little bit more involved. Dear Mr. Cantrall, I saw your face and was ecstatic. Right? Okay? I saw your face and was ecstatic while reading the CKI newsletter this morning. I had forgotten your name but had wanted to write you ever since LTC this past summer. It would be impossible to explain how much your attendance and speech at LTC really changed me. While everyone may have heard, in the audience may have heard the story before, and the demonstration with that $20 bill and value and worth, it had me fighting back tears. Last year, I really got myself into a bad situation, and in October, I was raped. For the last 13 months, I had been constantly struggling to get back to who I was before all this happened, strong, confident, and able to trust myself again. Seeing you stomp on that $20 bill and pick it up with the sincerity of your speech, I can earnestly say changed my life. Thank you so very much. I am well on my way to leaving the pain of being a victim and entering a state of survivorship. Thank you very much. I had probably done that presentation thousands of times before for CKIers and key clubbers. And you know, I never really know if they're listening. That letter just proved that I've touched the lives of one child that had I not done that speech, I probably never would have helped her change her life. And as a follow-up to that story, I received that letter in November, and when we had our district convention, the letter was not signed, but I had a young gal come up to me, and she said, "Can I get a picture taken with you?" And I had no idea who this young gal was. I could tell by the postmark on the thank you note that it was from one or two clubs, and this young lady was one of the clubs. And it was just flew over my head after we had the picture taken that this was the young gal that wrote the thank you note. And I was so impressed that she was still there and still involved and still trying to make a difference despite the setbacks she had in her personal life. You too can be the difference maker if you are willing to engage yourself in the lives of our service leadership programs. And the last one, the fifth one that I knew you were all hanging on for last night, is the elimination of MNT. I believe that in Kiwanis, we should never be divided by city or county lines, but united in the need and desire to help a child in need wherever that call for help may come from. In almost 99 years, Kiwanis International has only tackled 2 international service projects, IDD, which was extremely successful, and now MNT. The elimination of maternal neonatal tetanus is not an impossible task if we set our minds and our hearts to saving the lives of innocent babies who, through no fault of their own, struggle and are in peril. Raising $110 million is not an impossible task. Muhammad Ali says that impossible is just a large word used by small men who would rather live in a world they have been given than try to use the talents they have to change it. We can change the world. MNT is not a disease, but an unfortunate mishap that we can prevent for less than half the cup of coffee at Starbucks. When we focus on the elimination of maternal neonatal tetanus, it helps us keep our own personal lives in perspective, knowing that we can save a life for $1.80. We live in a world, unfortunately, where there are so many distractions and self-indulgences that we often forget that there are people who struggle every day. Those who struggle through no fault of their own and find themselves in sickness. 60,000 children die annually at the rate of 1 every 9 minutes, and we have the power to do something about that. For every baby that is born, no matter how rich or poor of a family they are born into, deserves the opportunity to reach their fullest potential and leave a lasting legacy for future generations to come. When we make that commitment to eliminate maternal neonatal tetanus, we send a signal around the world that lives matter not only here in America, but wherever the call for help, wherever those mothers and babies are that are in need. For every baby deserves a chance to achieve their fullest human potential. So make that commitment today to do just a little bit more to help, to be a part of the team that says, I did that. If your club has already given, thank you so very much, but considering doing just a little bit more. Just as many of us annually support things like the cure for cancer, or for diabetes, or for many things that are annually ongoing, we need your annual support to help maternal neonatal tetanus. I truly believe with your commitment to excellence, we can be the advocate for so many who live in darkness. So I hope that you will join me on a journey of service above self, step outside the barriers that prevent you from doing just a little bit more, and leave a lasting legacy for future generations to come. Be the difference maker you were intended to be. Love a child today, change a life forever. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I hope that everybody had a terrific weekend. I thank all those who have helped to make this weekend the success it was, especially the staff of the Florida District of Kiwanis. Yes, they are staff, but they do so much more above and beyond what's expected of them, and we couldn't survive without them. I hope everybody has safe travels. I look forward to meeting you at the upcoming Division Council meetings and governor's visits. But again, most importantly, mark your calendar, February 1st, 2014. Have a safe trip.